gonna be okay.
I'm so sorry.
Prince William quietly burned Princess Charlotte's childhood teddy bear. Seconds after Prince George discovered hidden documents sewn inside it. And according to Oliver Grant, that was the night George stopped seeing William as his father. The storm outside Windsor Hall had already knocked out half the palace lights. By the time George entered the old nursery storage room, beneath the east wing, most of the staff were upstairs trying to restore power. The lower corridors were almost completely empty. George only came down there because Charlotte had asked him earlier that week to find an old music box from their childhood. Instead, he found the bare small cream colored worn with age. Charlotte used to carry it everywhere after the palace crash years ago. George almost smiled when he picked it up, until his fingers touched the stitching along the back. Fresh thread, different from the rest. His expression changed immediately. Slowly, George grabbed a small blade from one of the storage desks and cut the seam open. Cotton spilled onto the floor. Then something else fell out with it. Documents, folded tightly inside plastic wrapping. George froze. At first he thought they were old medical records. Then he saw the seal, Princess Diana. His heartbeat stopped instantly. He unfolded the first page carefully, and the moment he read the second paragraph, the blood drained from his face. Charlotte must never be left alone downstairs. George stared at the sentence in silence. Then flipped to the next page. Psychological evaluations, private security reports, handwritten notes from Diana herself, all hidden inside a child's teddy bear for years. His breathing became shallow now, especially when he reached the final page, a handwritten letter addressed directly to Charlotte. The ink slightly faded with age. "If you ever find this, it means I failed to protect you." George sat there staring at the letter while thunder shook Windsor Hall outside, because suddenly, everything about Charlotte started making sense. The nightmares, the panic attacks, the way William always shut down conversations about the crash. Then footsteps echoed through the corridor behind him. George looked up instantly. Prince William stopped cold the moment he saw the open bear and the documents in George's hands. For several seconds, neither of them moved. Then George slowly stood up. "What is this?" William's face tightened immediately. "Give those to me." George didn't move. "What happened downstairs?" William walked forward faster now. But George stepped backward. "You lied to her." That sentence hit harder than shouting ever could. William's voice suddenly sharpened. "You don't understand what you're looking at." "Then explain it." Silence. Heavy thunder rattled the windows. George lifted Diana's letter slightly. "She was scared of you." William's entire expression cracked, and for the first time, George saw panic in his father's eyes, real panic. Then suddenly William lunged forward and ripped the documents from George's hands. George shouted instantly, "Dad!" But William was already moving toward the fireplace, and before George could stop him, William threw the documents directly into the flames. George froze in horror. No. Diana's handwriting curled black inside the fire. The psychological reports vanished one page at a time. George stared at the flames like he was watching someone die. Then came the moment that shattered everything, because William slowly picked up Charlotte's teddy bear. George looked up instantly. "Don't." William's hand trembled slightly, but he still threw the bear into the fire. George just stood there, unable to believe what he was seeing. Charlotte's childhood bear slowly caught fire beside Diana's letters. The room filled with silence. Then George whispered something so quietly William almost didn't hear it. That was hers. William closed his eyes briefly. As if even he knew he had crossed something irreversible now. But George wasn't looking at him anymore. He was staring at the burning bear, at Charlotte's entire childhood disappearing in front of him. Then something metallic dropped from the burning stuffing onto the fireplace grate. George noticed it instantly. A small hidden zipper pull. William didn't. While William stood frozen watching the flames, George quietly reached into the fire with the metal poker and dragged the object toward himself. Hidden inside was one final folded note partially protected from the flames. Tiny, burned around the edges. George opened it carefully with shaking hands, then froze completely, because written in Diana's handwriting were 7 words. Ask William what happened downstairs. George slowly looked up. William was staring directly at him now. And suddenly George understood everything. Not the full truth. Not yet. But enough. Enough to realize William wasn't trying to protect Charlotte. He was trying to bury something. George's voice became terrifyingly calm. What's downstairs? William said nothing. George stepped closer. What did you do to her? Still silence. And somehow, that silence hurt more than any answer ever could. Then Charlotte walked into the room. Neither of them heard her approach. She stopped the moment she smelled smoke, then saw the fireplace, her teddy bear burning inside it. Charlotte's face immediately collapsed. No. She rushed forward instinctively, but George grabbed her arm before she reached the flames. Charlotte looked at him in confusion. Then at William. And suddenly the room became unbearably quiet. Because she realized instantly, William did this, not an accident, not a servant mistake. Him. Charlotte's single quotes eyes slowly filled with tears. That was the last thing Diana gave me. William looked completely destroyed now, but Charlotte stepped backward away from him, like she didn't even recognize him anymore. George quietly held the burned note in his hand, then looked directly at William. And said the sentence Oliver Grant would later remember for the rest of his life. That's exactly what she was trying to warn us about. William's face went pale instantly. Then George did something that truly broke him. For the first time in his life, George stopped calling him Dad. Instead, he looked him straight in the eyes and said, "You should have told her the truth." Sir. Double quote Sir. Not Dad. Sir. The word hit William harder than screaming ever could. Because in that moment, he realized he hadn't just lost control of Windsor Hall. He had lost his son. And according to Oliver Grant, that was the exact night the royal family truly began falling apart. If you enjoyed this emotional royal mystery story, leave your theories below. What do you think Diana was hiding downstairs beneath Windsor Hall? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more hidden palace secrets, emotional betrayals, and dramatic royal family stories.